And a good Monday evening and welcome to Time Out right here on TVMB. Coming up the next 30 minutes, Russ Howard fails to win the Brier. KB and Hampton bow out of the playoffs and the Rock is leaving town. All that and much more coming up the next 30 minutes. And a good Monday evening. Welcome to Time Out right here on TVMB. I'm Barry Johnston, sitting in for the vacationing Jim Hennessy, and I'm joined this week by Bobby Allen. Thanks for coming in on very short notice, Bobby.
Thanks for having me, Barry. Yeah, it was kind of short notice, but no problem.
All right. Tonight we're going to talk about Russ Howard. He loses out in the Brier. He lost 9-5 to Greg McCauley in his BC rink. Russ Howard had a pretty good week. He finished 8-3 in the round robin. BC finished, I believe, 9-3 in the round robin, or 9-2 in the round robin. So very respectable finishes for both teams. But Russ Howard, his 10th time to the Brier final, but he just can't seem to pull the trigger and get a win out of there.
I don't know what it is, Barry. I kind of watched him all week long, and he did throw well. There was a couple of games there late in the week. He had a lot of pressure on him, but he threw well. And if I was a bet man, I was picking Russ Howard. Yeah.
So Russ Howard beat Quebec 8-5 to get into the final, and it was a different format that they have up there, that they have a playoff, and it's just a weird-looking system that they have there to get to the final eventually. BC, New Brunswick played BC earlier on in the I believe it was the second playoff format that they had. Russ Howard got beat by BC, so BC automatically went straight to the final. Therefore, Quebec and Manitoba played. Quebec beat Manitoba, beat Stoughton, who was a went to the Worlds last year. And then Quebec went on to play New Brunswick. New Brunswick beat Quebec, and New Brunswick went on to play BC. It's a very complicated format, but nonetheless, it was exciting curling. But I think Russ's team let him down quite a bit in the final.
I don't know if they let him down. It's a lot of pressure, and like you said, he's been there 10 times. That's a lot of pressure going into the finals, and you get the crowd there. So it's a shame. I would have liked to see him win it, but
yesterday I was watching it, and he said that the rocks just sit. There were two straight of rocks. They weren't curling for him, and I'm not really up on that, but I was asking a fella not too long afterwards about that, and he says, well, some rocks, they little bevel on them, or not quite flat, or even all around on the bottom, and he said that'll make a difference that they won't curl, and we heard that quite often out of Russ Howard's mouth yesterday, that the rocks are just going straight, and they're not the same rocks that he curled with earlier in the week. So, moving on now to KV, high school hockey. KV bowed out to Oromocto. 3-1, and then we had Hampton playing against Fredericton, and then Fredericton just swept them 3 games straight. You're more up on the high school hockey, so I'll let you go from there. We'll start with KV and Oromocto.
The KV Oromocto series, I was kind of surprised at that, because I seen both teams play earlier in the year at both rinks, up in Oromocto and at KV. I was really surprised at that. I thought KV should have won that. I thought they had better goaltending, but when you come down to it, the Snipers, OHS had a couple of big lines there, so I was kind of surprised at that. The other series, the Hampton and Fredericton series, that was no upsetter. I wasn't surprised at that. I figured that'd go the way that did.
Is this Hampton's first or second year as a AAA team?
First year.
First year.
First year.
I think they did pretty good to get on down as far as the semifinals. And,
coaches out there, Richard Malone did a super job. We didn't pick them to even get that far. First year club, that's a big league, as you know, Barry. It's great hockey, and he did well just to get that far with that hockey team.
Well, you take the size of Fredericton, they have an average of about 3,000 or more students there.
Compared to a little school like Hampton,
and a little area like Hampton, and wouldn't have any more than 1,000 out there probably. That's a pretty respectable finish, and I think they must be quite happy. Although they did lose, it's 3 straight, but you got to look at the club that beat them too, and that's a big club, and Fredericton's always been a powerhouse up there, and it'll be a good series. If anybody's interested in watching high school hockey, go watch Fredericton and Oromocto. I said that last week in the show. If those two make it in the final, it's going to be one rough and tough series.
Well, you'll get some bumper crowds for that, too.
They play at the Lady Beaverbrook.
Lady Beaverbrook, and then they play out of the King's Arrow.
King's Arrow. And we had Don Ferguson at the rink for one of the games, and he files his report.
The Kennebecasis Valley High School Crusaders host the Oromocto High Blues for Game 3 in the best-of-5 series of the Southwest Conference AAA Hockey Playoffs. Oromocto leads the series 2-0, and we're leading the game 4-2 in the third period. KBHS starts to come back on this goal by Luke Clarkson. With 4:43 left in regulation time, Steve Dobbin ties the match 4-all. KV goes on the power play after this cross-check into the net. And with 2:24 left on the clock, Camel Fergie caps off the power play, and Crusaders keep their playoff hopes alive. In the other Southern Conference playoff series, Hampton Huskies find the going tough after losing to the Fredericton Black Cats in their first match. This goal by Jeff Gillies in the second was the lone ray of light for Hampton. Hat tricks by Andy Diddich, and by Scott Durley highlighted the show. Also scoring for Fredericton were Jared Cross, Eric Coffin, and Rod Daly.
And thanks, Don Ferguson, for that report. Bobby, we saw there that Hampton just didn't seem to have the power to go against Fredericton, and we saw KV probably could have went on farther with Oromocto. Unfortunately, they had to bow out 3-1.
But I was saying, with like you said, with Fredericton, with the population of the school, 1,500 kids, it's pretty tough down here for our little schools to put a hockey team together and compete. So.
Still on a local front, UNBSJ's Jen Fox won a bronze medal in the badminton at the Nationals in Westminster, BC, and she was also named Female Athlete of the Month for February. And after the break, when we come back, we will be talking about The Rock, who was asked to leave town, and we'll let you know what we think of that one. So when we come right back, it'll be The Rock. And welcome back to Time Out right here on TVMB. I'm Barry Johnson, sitting in for the vacationing Jim Hennessy, along with Bobby Allen. My mistake there. Normally it's Bruce McDonald, but Bruce is somewhat of a vacation too. He normally sits in with Jimmy, and unfortunately I'm in school, so I can't sit in and do the show normally. But nice to have you here tonight, Bobby. And the St. John City and District AAA High School playoffs are going on right now. Give us a rundown. You followed the high school most of the year, or probably all year long, and just give us your feelings, run down each team, and what you think of each team, and then in the end, who you think's going to win.
Well, it's basically just four local teams. It's Harborview, Hampton, or Harborview, Simon, St. John High, and St. Max. They're just going to play a round robin. Top two teams will go to a little mini series, best of 3 or best of 5. There's been one game, because they shut down, as you know, over the March break. They don't play. So there's been one game that was 2 weeks ago, and that was St. John High, which bit of an upset, beat Harborview 3-2, because St. John High just struggled. They were just, I shouldn't say this, they were horrible all year. A lot of grade 9, grade 10 kids. If I had to pick a team for the finals in that, I would pick Harborview in the St. John High final right now. St. Max has only been carrying 12 and 13 players. They've had a few suspensions. Simons, they're not much, they're a young team. second team. They've been in the league 2 years with Roy Nolan, but they're struggling. But I'd have to pick, like I said, Harborview and St. John High in the finals. You know, depending on ice time, we'll play a best of 3 or best of 5, just for pride, you know.
And Harborview was known as Voc at one time, St. John
yeah.
Vocational High School. I saw them when I first come to the city here, and that's about 7 years ago now, and they were terrible. Like, they've come a long way, obviously, and the coaching has really helped that team out.
Yeah, they have Pat Cluche, played senior hockey for years, and they have also, well, I don't know if he's still around, but Bobby Kane played senior hockey. So with those two right there, and they have another fellow coached St. John High last year, Glenn Dow. So with the 3 of them around, there's a lot of hockey experience and knowledge, and this is a good little hockey team right now.
St. John High used to be the dominant force here in the city at one time, and actually almost around the province, but they seem to have slipped off. You said they're using a lot of grade 9s and grade 10s?
Yeah, it's basically a first-year hockey team. They've got probably 5 or 6 returnees from last year. They got Scott Holberg, Jamie King. They've been carrying one goaltender all year, and this Mark Sims, I believe his name is, he's facing 50 and 60 shots a game. So they're doing quite well, and like I said, when they opened up 2 weeks ago, they beat Harborview 3-2. And this young fellow just, unbelievable, just stood on his head. That's who I'm picking in the final, so I'll probably get some flack for that.
So if they're going grade 9s and 10s, they're obviously they're trying to build for the future, because these kids will get 4 years of high school hockey out of them, you know, if he's grade 4 or grade 9 or grade 10s.
Exactly, yeah. And they have a young coach here too, first-year coach Andrew Cosman, sorry. He's been doing a good job. They've been struggling, but I think they're going to do all right in the city and district.
Let's just stay local just a little bit longer. You were involved with the St. John Thomas Construction Junior B team. I asked Bruce last week what he thought of the playoff series. Let's get your point of view and what you thought of it.
We had a good year. We had a lot of injuries, early injuries, which, you know, Barry hurts a hockey team anytime. A lot of times we were on the road, we were only carrying 10 or 11 guys with schools, exams, and injuries. Yeah, I was a bit upset. You know, we lost 3-0 to Stanley. I felt we could have won that series. Close games. They beat us in overtime. They beat us a couple of games close. Went into Game 3. Bad officiating in Stanley, which is going to happen in any rink. We could have won that series, but like I said, 11 and 12 guys aren't going to win a hockey game for you.
Bad officiating. Let's just touch on that one a little bit. We've heard it from NHL to AHL to junior to high school to midget. We've heard it all along. What do you think may have to be done with the officiating in this province?
Oh, gee, I haven't even really thought about it, Barry. You know, they don't have anybody in Stanley capable, which, you know, so they brought them in from Fredericton. I know the fellow that came in from Fredericton did the game. He's got the experience. He's a great referee, does college hockey, but it was just one of those nights. He had a bad night. I don't know what you really have to do in that. Sit down, do something, bring, like you said, the NHL has been pretty poor too. I don't know what you can do about that. Bring some of these big guys down, send these guys to clinics. I don't know what you're going to do.
I noticed when I traveled with the midget team from Miramichi around to Upper Canada, Quebec, and Ontario, that I was asking about some of the referees. They hold clinics. They hold recertifications.
Yes.
I know they recertify here, but it's a different situation. You have to go through and do the motions. You just don't send in your registration money and there, you know, you're a referee again for the next year. And I think that's maybe something they have to look at down here, because everywhere you go, they complain about refereeing. Refereeing was terrible. The refereeing was this. Refereeing was that. We saw it in Woodstock. We've seen it everywhere. Best referee I see in the junior league, and we played in every barn in the junior league, was Shippigan. And it was a guy by the last name of Savoy, and he wasn't even from Shippigan. He was from, I believe, Negawac or somewhere. Yeah. Excellent guy. He let them play hockey. If something was obvious, you know, it was great.
Yes.
But then you get some guys, you know, you go into like the likes of Stanley or up in Woodstock or something like that, and then you get just horrific refereeing. And I don't know what has to be done, but something definitely has to be done to it. You notice in the NHL they say it's too watered down, or the AHL, sorry, it's too watered down because they're trying to do that two-man system in the NHL. It's watering down the AHL. You get guys, Brad James has been on this bandwagon a lot. You get guys, they stay in town for a week or so, a week to 10 days sometimes, if there's a long stretch of games in that city. And it's, you know, Mark Joannette, I believe, was one referee that comes to mind. He stayed in town for 5 or 6 days while the Flames were on that long homestand. So I don't know what has to be done there. They got to stop bleeding the system in the AHL and let the NHL deal with what they have up there.
The rink that I impressed, I can't agree with you on Shippigan. I can't agree on you there. I don't know, it was a night you got a good referee. The night we were up there, this guy was just ferocious. Just terrible. Guys leaving the penalty box, the penalty times are up. He was just totally French. Couldn't understand you. Guys jumping out. I know we're not angels, but we had one guy jump out of the penalty box and go after another fellow. Cross-check him. Come back to the bench and not get anything out of it. So, you know, what's that telling you? Just no communication amongst everybody. It's just horrible.
Since we're talking about St. John Flames and the Calgary Flames have always had enough of Rocky Thompson. They said enough's enough. Nick Polano, I believe, has said that we can't be worrying about Rocky Thompson anymore. Rocky's on the trading block. What do you think?
It's time for Rocky to go. I've seen the last 4 or 5 games at home, and like I was talking to you before we went on the air, his heart's not in it anymore. He doesn't want to be there. It's showing on the ice. Like I said, I've seen them. He doesn't want to be out there. Him and Vive haven't got along together all year. They just don't see eye to eye. I think it's time to ship him out.
From the first time Vive and Rocky have clashed horns, I guess you could say, or locked horns, Rocky's heart's never been in it ever since that time when he left, I think, about half an hour before game time, or not even before game
Just
time.
pulled the plug on it.
I think that's when they should have dealt him and got him out of there, because, like you say, his heart hasn't been in it. He wants the ice time. He's not a Petrovicki. He's not a Varlamov. He's not a St. Louis. But he's tried playing defense. His skating backwards could use a little bit more work. Skating forward, he's gotten a lot better. Puck handling skills have gotten good. I mean, he's scored this year alone 2 goals and had 8 assists for 10 points, and that's pretty respectable for a tough guy in the AHL. But I don't know. I don't know what more he was expecting.
No, like you said, he's here. He's been a fan favorite. It happened the last time. That should have been dealt with, over with. Now they've got to go through the headache. Nick Polano, send him to DI. He's not going to be around here any longer.
As we see on your monitor, you just saw on your monitor there, Rocky Thompson, and that may be the last time you ever see him in a St. John uniform. But the trading deadline is tomorrow. We're going to see a lot of changes. By the way, Rocky did play 53 games, 2 goals, 8 assists. He was a -2, which is not too bad for his kind of style and kind of play. And he had 125 minutes in penalties, which that's kind of low for the Rock, actually, I found.
Yeah, he's a big, tough man. You know, tough guy, likes to fight, but 125 minutes, no, that's not a lot. We get that in junior hockey.
Yeah. The Flames right now do have 69 points, and they will be in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton to take on the Penguins tomorrow night. Flames having a bit of a rocky road trip right now. They've, I believe, lost 2 and won 1 on the weekend. Giguère is getting the call now. He must be getting a little happier. He's got to get his confidence back up. Vive has to know that. Your goaltending is your quarterback. You've got to get him in there. He's your bread and butter. If he doesn't play, you know, give Mathieu credit. Give Larocque credit. They played well while they were here, but Giguère, I think he's got to get in there and play, and he's got to get back to his old style. Yeah,
because these are some big games coming up. I think I looked. They've only got maybe a half dozen, 10 games left. They go into the Island this week, and that's 2 big games there. If they want to, you know, vault into first place, I think they could be in first. I don't know. I haven't seen the standings.
They are in first. Sorry, Bobby. Yeah, they are in first. With 69 points, 2 points behind or ahead of Lowell. Sorry.
I haven't seen a paper all week, and I've been tied up. So they are in first place now, and that game on Tuesday night's a big one. They go into the Rock for 2. They should come out of there with a couple of wins there.
They're in first place. You look at their team. It's basically an East Coast League team. Yeah. And when you look down the lineup, you see the likes of John Tripp. Joel Irving's been in the lineup. I don't know who else comes to mind. You get Mathieu, you get Larocque. There's the 2 goaltenders that come to mind. You had Luke Roy, which was a senior hockey player.
Goaltender.
Or no, hockey player, a defenseman. So this team has really struggled all year long. They got stripped, I guess, of a lot of their talent. St. Louis gone up, and Don McKelly was gone up and now traded, I believe, if memory serves me correctly. So this team is really doing quite well. Vive, I think, has to be commended somewhat for the work he's done with what he has.
Yeah, he's done a great job all year, but like I go down to the rink and we're talking, why don't he have an assistant? Tom Watt come down. Tom did a good job down there. Why can't he? You look at Quebec there last time they were in 3 coaches on the bench. 1 guy cannot be on that bench. You know, you get into these bench minors and bench problems. You have an assistant there. That's not going to happen. He's got to have some help down there. Ivan Votor goes down, gives him a hand, but he needs somebody on that bench with him.
I think he does, and he's run the ship down in, can't think right now, my memory is eluding me here, but when he was down in the East Coast, when he won the championship down there, he was by himself there, so he figures, well, I can do it again up here. I mean, Jeff Berry, I think, was an excellent assistant. Unfortunately, the contract ran out, and Jeff's gone on to bigger and better things, but he does need an assistant down there, whether it be Ivan Votor or Tommy Watt. I mean, Tommy Watt's here most nights anyway. Yeah. Get him down there on the bench. Give him a little hand, and when things get a little too heated, that's when your assistant kind of looks over and says, hey, just calm it down a little bit. Just calm down, you know, and, let the assistant roar. Let, if he gets tossed, well, that's fine. But you still got your head man there. Yeah. And he's going to get paid the big bucks to run the show. Yeah. Brian Berard on the weekend. Oof. Basically, the only thing I can say is losing his eye. Yeah, he only has, they think, might be partial sight coming back in it. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I didn't get to see it. I was tied up in a rink all weekend, but from what I've heard, it was pretty scary. Lost a lot of blood. I don't know why these fellas don't go with a visor. Even with a visor on, you're still going to get the stick blood. It's going to prevent that. Like, I'll read the paper later, and it's scary. The kids, he's only 21, 22, 23.
his career could be done. No,
Don Cherry would not like to hear you say wear a visor, that's for
No,
sure.
Don wouldn't like to
But I
hear
don't
that.
think Don Cherry likes the fact that the stick come up in the eye, and this kid, 22 years of age,
Yeah.
his career might be over.
Yeah.
And, you know, for the benefit of the doubt, I think it is over personally, because you can't play with one eye in the NHL,
No.
and if he does lose all the sight in it, it's going to be tough luck for him.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. I'm not a big Leaf fan. I don't really follow them, but it's unfortunate. Like you said, his career is going to be done. There's no way he'll be back.
Now, with the trading deadline coming up, does Toronto start really scrambling and searching for a defenseman to kind of fill that role? Because let's look down at the farm. The
not
St.
a
John's
thing down
Maple
there.
Leafs, there's nothing down there to go down and pick. That comes to mind. There's no standouts there. Do they have to find something at the trading deadline? And
Yeah.
who's out there that they might be able to get?
Exactly. There's, deadline smart. They have to find somebody, but what big names out there? Ray Bourque goes to Colorado, so he's the biggest one. Who do you go after?
And he's out injured.
And he's out hurt right now.
Day to day, I
Yeah.
guess, is what they're listing him as now.
So who's really out there that you can go for? What big names out there? I haven't really followed. I don't know who's out there right now.
There's not a whole lot out there, but I think we're going to see some big changes coming up. There's going to be a lot of teams. You look at Colorado, you look at Philadelphia, they're going to be taking a big run for the Cup again. Yeah. And
the Habs looking for another goaltender, maybe?
Well, they're going to need something.
Yeah.
They need something up there, but they have come around, and Boston's been coming around as of late too. So when we come back from the break, I think, Bobby, we'll talk a little bit more about the NHL and what's going up there and what the rundown is on where the teams are standing. And if the playoffs start tomorrow, we'll just kind of run down and pick out who our favorites will be.
Sure.
So when we come back, we'll be talking NHL right here on Timeout on TVNB.
Body break.
Body Break with Hal Johnson and Joanne McLeod.
Oh, yeah.
Doing a step workout in your home is one of the easiest ways to fit exercise into your day, especially when you don't have time to go to the gym, the weather isn't the best, or you have children to watch.
In fact, more people are exercising from their home than ever before. And once you've made the decision to start, you need to determine what fitness equipment is right for you. So here are some heart pumping and strengthening options that are available.
Hand weights don't take up a lot of room. Resistance tubing can be used on its own or with a step. An exercise ball will stretch and strengthen your total body. A nav product can help you perform a sit-up. And using a stretch strap will increase your flexibility. Treadmills and stationary bikes are excellent pieces of equipment to elevate your heart rate and burn fat and calories. A pedometer keeps track of the distance you've covered during a walk outside. And don't forget audio tapes to keep you motivated. Also, a heart rate monitor is a must on our list.
Equipment that collects dust or ends up as a very expensive towel rack is usually poor quality, a fad, awkward to use, or doesn't meet your fitness goals.
So invest in your health and you'll be rewarded the minute you start. Until next time, keep fit and have fun.
Come on, Joe, get stepping.
Body break.
Body Break.
And welcome back to Timeout here on TVNB. I'm Barry Johnson, sitting in for the vacationing Jim Hennessy, along with Bobby.
Thanks, Barry.
I didn't say Bruce this time
No.
around, so I did
No.
pretty good.
No.
Just before the break, Bobby, we were talking about the NHL and the playoff scenario. It's getting very close to the playoffs, and of course, when the trading deadline comes around, you know the crunch is on for playoff positions. In the East, Toronto, I guess, is our best hope. Toronto's our best hope as a Canadian team, period. But then you get Philadelphia right on their heels. At the time of taping, Toronto had 88 points, Philadelphia had 85. Sitting at the top of that list in the East was with 91 points was New Jersey. What do you think? Do you think Toronto can go on? Do you think they can do it?
Not a Leaf fan. Like you said, they're the only Canadian club. First round, maybe. Second round, no.
Second round, no?
No.
We look in the West. Calgary right now, if the playoffs start tomorrow, would be in. So would Edmonton. They'd be sitting 6th and 8th, if my calculations are right. That would be a great series to watch. I mean, the winner out of that would come out of it pretty banged up and bruised up and whatnot. But Edmonton's looking pretty good out there. I believe they're up around 70-some points, 71 points, somewhere in that area. They're not looking too bad right now. Not a whole lot of injuries there, but they're looking pretty good.
Yeah, they've got to win their games, too. They've got some key games coming up, too. They lost on the weekend 4-3. I believe it was to Nashville. Shouldn't be losing to Nashville. You need these wins right now. Calgary, Edmonton series, best of 7. 6 games, Calgary.
You think it'll be 6 games,
6
Calgary?
games, Calgary. Beat up crew, both teams, but 6 games, Calgary.
A lot of people in St. John would be saying, no, I don't want to see that because they want some of the players to
Come down to the
here.
farm, yeah.
And I think we'd be quite a powerhouse down here. I shouldn't say maybe a powerhouse, but a lot better team than what has been playing. Montreal would be in. Boston would be out. And after Boston beat Montreal on the weekend, I hope that's not signs of Montreal slipping, but I'm a have-not fan. but I'm a Bruin fan, so I'd like to see the Bruins get in there, but I don't know. They just don't seem to have it this year, and with one of their key players, I should say a rather a key player, Marty McSorley, out, and for obvious reasons we know.
McSorley's gone, Bork's gone, key defenseman there. That once Bork left, once they traded him, that just took the sales out of them. Canadians should never lost to them on Saturday night. Not ever, but...
Koivu was out too also.
Yes.
He's out hurt possibly for the remainder of the season.
Hoping not.
Well, what does that do to Montreal?
Ooh, that's going to hurt us. That's certainly going to hurt. Hopefully he won't be back, or hopefully he will be back, but I can't see it. But that's a big loss right there.
Running short on time quickly, NASCAR on the weekend, or NASCAR, sorry. I follow NASCAR quite a bit, but NASCAR on the weekend in, I believe in Atlanta. They, just a spectacular finish between Earnhardt and Dale Jarrett. Just a phenomenal finish, almost a photo finish really, and I would have loved to have been there because I know I would have only needed to buy only part of the seat because that's all I would have been sitting in, but Mike Skinner led almost with about 15 laps left to go, I think, blew an engine. Skinner and Earnhardt had some bumping earlier on in the race. Earnhardt tried to go low on him, Skinner come down, kind of blocked him off a little bit. There was some fist shaking going on there. And they're on the same team. But Earnhardt comes out with the win. The old veteran, I guess you could call him, he comes out with the win. Young lad sits away back. He was about 20-some laps or 30-some laps behind. I know you're just slowly getting back into NASCAR.
Yeah.
Did you get to see any of this race? And if not, what are your views so far on the season?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. No, I didn't get to see it yesterday, Barry. I was at the Beaverbrook doing a minor hockey tournament. I just started getting into it late last year, well, May, June. I've got to a few tracks like down in New Hampshire and that. I didn't get to see the race. I got to start getting into it more, but like you said, Dale Earnhardt won that. I didn't get to see the race, so I can't give my comments on that, but I'm starting to enjoy it. I'm getting out to the track more. You and yourself and Bruce are into it, and I'm going to try to get out and follow it more. I'm a Dale Earnhardt fan right now.
I want to correct myself now before everybody starts faxing and phoning. It was Bobby Labonte that he beat at the line, not Dale Jarrett, my mistake. But anyway, nonetheless, it was a Dale Earnhardt win. That's another good one for him. I like to see that. And Jeff Gordon, I don't know if he even finished. I don't know if he got to cross the finish line.
Don't even care. I'm not a Gordon fan either.
Unfortunately, Bobby, that's it for another week. 30 minutes gone by just like that, and I'd like to thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
And I'm hoping myself that Jim Hennessy will be in next week, and hope to see you too next week on Timeout right here on TVMB.